Welcome back to episode 132 of Teachers in Transition, the podcast and the YouTube channel. My name is Kitty Boitnott. I am the owner of Boitnott Coaching, LLC, and the founder of Teachers in Transition. My fundamental reason for being is to help teachers who are burnt out and feeling like they're ready for a career change, to help them figure out what that change looks like and how to make it happen. That's why I call myself a heart-centered career transition and job search coach. But I'm also a certified stress management coach. And because burnout starts with feeling stressed and overwhelmed, I also help my clients with their stress and burnout as well as their career transition. If you've listened to this podcast in the past, you know that I offer alternating topics. One week talking about career transition strategies, the alternating week talking about stress management strategies, and this week the topic is career. Now, I was kind of struggling this week figuring out what it was that I wanted to say about career. I feel like at times I've shared everything I already know in 131 episodes, half of which were all about career transition. I have shared much of what I offer in my course, the Jumpstart Your Job Search 2.0 program, which you are welcome to check out and try out. And in fact, this week and part of next week, I will be offering the do-it-yourself version of the program for a special price of only $197. Do it yourself means do it yourself. You get the program, but there's no coaching involved unless you want to upgrade to get some sort of coaching. But for $197, you get a comprehensive program that is chock full of good advice on how to start your job search and how to proceed through each step by step, learning how to navigate the job search process. So if you're interested in that, I'll provide a link in the show notes for the Jumpstart Your Job Search program, the do-it-yourself version for only $197. This is a program that normally sells for $497. A couple months ago, I offered it for $297. The special reason for offering it for a few days for $197 is I have a birthday coming up. And I wanted to do something special for folks who listen to the podcast, who read my newsletters, who are part of my community and are in need of help with their career transition. So that's why I was kind of struggling with what else do I say about career transition? And then I looked at my bookshelf and I decided that one of the books on there was a perfect topic to talk about when it comes to career transition and figuring out what you want to do with your life. And so I picked off from my shelf Simon Sinek's book, Find Your Why. Now, he's also written a book, and I think that one was the first book, a bestseller, called Start With Why. And it is a book that is intended mostly for career or entrepreneurs, business owners who may be struggling with figuring out and defining their purpose, their reason for being, figuring out who their clients are, what their main purpose is, and what passion they need to identify to get their business off the ground. Later, he offered Find Your Why, a practical guide for discovering purpose for you and your team. And I pulled the book off the shelf and I read the foreword, and it was like, ding, 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 this is the perfect thing to talk about today. Because each of my group coaching sessions, I start with a statement that I believe is an indisputable fact. And that is that work that feels fulfilling leads to a happier life. I truly believe that. It's part of the reason I decided to start a business instead of going back into the classroom back in 2012 when I made my own career transition, because I knew that going back into the classroom would not be fulfilling for me. I was over it. I was done. I was ready to move on to something else, something new. And when I was reading the book by Sinek on Find Your Why, I resonated very intensely with his thinking about why you need to find your why. And for me, my why is very simple. I'm here, I'm in business to help teachers, whether it's helping with their stress or helping them with their career transition. I'm here to help. I have told people many times that the only two things I knew for sure when I left the classroom back in 2012 to move into this new arena, this business world, I knew two things. One was that I wanted to stay in connection with teachers some way, somehow. I didn't know how at the time. And the other was that I wanted to be of service. Those were the only two things I knew for sure. Everything else was, an act of faith. Starting a business was an act of faith that I could figure out how to make it work and that I would make it work. So in his foreword, Simon Sinek says in the book, Find Your Why, fulfillment is a right, not a privilege. Every single one of us is entitled to feel fulfilled by the work we do, to wake up feeling inspired to go to work, to feel safe when we're there, and to return home with a sense that we've contributed to something larger than ourselves. Fulfillment is not a lottery. It is not a feeling reserved for a lucky few who get to say, I love what I do. I truly believe that he is right about that. And yet millions of people, and you listening to this may be one of the millions, drag yourself out of bed every morning, go off to a place that may be toxic to the point of making you physically or emotionally ill. You make it through the day 1 hour at a time. At the end of the day, you drag yourself home and get ready to do it all over again the next day. For many teachers, now this may not be every teacher, but for many teachers, Friday can't get here soon enough, and yet they can't even allow themselves to enjoy the weekend because they have schoolwork to do, they have grading papers they have to get done, they have plans for the next week to get prepared for, and by Sunday afternoon, they've got a knot in the pit of their stomach already dreading Monday morning. Now, the reason so many teachers feel this way, dragging yourself to work, getting through the week, looking forward to the weekend and yet not really enjoying the weekend, it's because it's not you. It's because you've gotten yourself caught up in a system that is not working properly in many places. Now, I'm not going to speak to every place. There are places that are working swimmingly. There are lots of happy teachers out there. I know that. But I also know that there's a good number of teachers, not just in the United States. I talk to people in Canada. I know that in the UK, teachers are feeling more and more stressed and overwhelmed with all of the demands. Policymakers and politicians, administrators, bureaucrats, school board members, governors, all of them add more and more things to the plates of teachers all across the country. And one of my pet peeves when I was president of the Virginia Education Association was they never took anything off. They add on tons of stuff, but they never remove any of the stuff that is old and outdated and no longer useful. You're still supposed to do that stuff too. It's crazy making, at least it is to me. And so many teachers are buckling under the pressure. They feel stressed to the point of feeling sick. And for some, they've started to develop physical symptoms that have long-term implications and consequences. High blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease beyond high blood pressure. Many teachers don't have time to work out. They don't have time to think about eating properly. Some have allowed themselves to get overweight and not able to do anything about it. And the extra weight can cause you health issues. It's hard juggling everything that you have. Not only do you have all that crap to do at school, but you have your own family that you need to be taking care of. Not to mention that your ultimate responsibility is yourself. Taking care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Who has time, right? So I'm recommending that you start thinking in terms of what is your why. Take more than a minute to think about what is your why. We are all here on this planet for a reason. I truly believe that. And when we are struggling with the question of why am I here? What is mine to do here on this plane? We can feel the struggle. We can feel the challenge. We can feel the knots in the pits of our stomach. I want you to know that when you have found your why, when you have discovered your reason for being here, when you have figured out how to make your passion and your purpose in alignment with your work, it's a total game changer. You will feel better about every other aspect of your life, your health, your family, your relationships, your friends. And this is not something that you should put off for someday. You know how many of us, someday I'm going to get around to doing that. This is not someday. This is stuff you need to be tending to now. Don't put it off. Figure out what is your why here and now. And if your why is teaching, great, wonderful. We need fabulous teachers who want to be in the classroom with students. What we don't need are people who have discovered that their why is not in the classroom, and yet they continue to hang on for the steady paycheck, for the pension, for the regular hours, for the summers off, for the vacations, for whatever it is that you're hanging on for. Because that's not fulfilling. And if you're not fulfilled, you will feel it in your gut. You'll feel it in your heart. You'll know you're not living your why. Now, am I suggesting that you toss everything in the air and quit your job this afternoon and go off and find your why? No, I'm suggesting you figure out your why while you're making whatever living you're making now, but don't disregard the importance of investigating your why. And look into what are the kinds of jobs that could help you fulfill your why. You might surprise yourself. Those jobs might be out there and more plentiful than you've ever even suspected because you never looked before. So find your why. Check out Simon Sinek. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to start with why and find with why. Check out his TEDx talk, or it might be a TED talk. He's offering some good stuff. It's stuff to make you stop and think. And that's what I want you to do today. As you listen to this podcast or watch this YouTube channel, stop and think about what is your why. If you'd like to talk about it, you can make an appointment with me at teachersintransition.com/calendar. I'd love to chat with you about what your why might be. If you would like to ask a question, email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com. If you would, please review this podcast to help other people find it more easily. If this is helping you, it may help other teachers out there. And until next week, that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your day.